Good morning. We are indeed blessed to be here. If you have a copy of God's Word, please turn to Psalm 67. Psalms 67. This morning, I'm going to be talking about when God's face shines upon us. When God's face shines upon us. The Bible says, God be merciful to us and bless us, and cause his face to shine upon us, that your way may be known on earth, and that your way may be known on earth, your salvation among all nations. Let the peoples praise you, O God, and let all the peoples praise you. O let the nations be glad and sing for joy, for you shall judge the people righteously and govern the nations on earth. Let the people praise you, O God, let all the peoples praise you. Then the earth shall heal or increase. God, our own God, shall bless us. God shall bless us, and all the ends of the earth shall fear him. This brief yet profound request echoes a longing not only for divine favor, but for the very presence of God to be made visible, tangible, and transformational among his people. What does it mean for God's face to shine upon us? What power is unleashed when his favor is made manifest? Today, we will journey through the historical, theological, and spiritual dimensions of this prayer and discover what it means for the face of God to shine upon you. Psalms 67 is often associated with the Feast of Tabernacles, a harvest celebration when Israel acknowledged God's provision and prayed for rain and agricultural abundance. Structurally, the Psalms is a sophisticated poem filled with chasms and parallelism. Its opening verse is reminiscent of a priestly blessing in Numbers chapter 6 and verse 24 to 26. It reads, "The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace." This idea of the shining face of God signifies his personal presence, divine favor, and life-giving blessings. In the ancient Near East thought, the face of a deity signifies attention and involvement. To have a God turn his face away was to experience divine abandonment. To see the shining face was to receive blessing, life, and communion. Psalms 67 builds upon this by transforming a personal benediction into a missional prayer. Israel is not only asking for rain and blessing, but that these signs of God's favor would lead all nations to receive him. Each of these passages emerges from a moment of crisis, longing, and hope, and they converge to reveal a theology of divine intimacy through divine intervention. When the psalmist, a prophet, pleads for God's face to shine, it is never a casual prayer. It is a cry from within, spiritual, national, or personal desperation. Let us draw this thread through 4 keys texts that deepen our understanding of Psalms 67. In Numbers chapter 6 and verse 24 to 26, the priestly blessing, God's covenant favor. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. This was not just a poetic benediction. It was God's own words given to Aaron and the priest to speak over the nation of Israel. Israel was a people newly liberated and free from slavery, still wandering in the wilderness, still struggling to trust this unseen God who moved in fire and in the cloud. They were struggling. They were still wondering, because you remember, what could have caused them, taking them maybe a couple of years to enter the promised land. Took them how many years? 40 years. Wandering in the wilderness. Why? Because of their unfaithfulness. 12 spies were sent into where? Canaan, and only 2 came back. One of them was Joshua. Oh, we can take the land. The other 10 said we can't. They are what? Giants in the land. The land was flowing with milk and honey, but they said they couldn't take it. So here, the Lord make his face shine upon you, mean that Yahweh was not distant or indifferent. He was personal, invested, present in a world full of gods who needed appeasement and offered no intimacy. Israel, God desires relationship. His shining face convey both protection and purpose. It was covenantal. If God's face turned towards you, it meant life, peace, and purpose. If it turned away, it meant judgment and exile. Spiritually, it reminds us that favor is not earned through performance, but received through faith. We are a people who live not by what we see, but by the light of his covenants upon us. I wish you were here this morning and how we went into Anna's life. And she was indeed faithful. She was indeed faithful. A woman who couldn't bore a son, but she trusted in the God of Israel. She trusted in that eternal God, and God made a way for her. In Psalms 85, 6 through to 13, revival, restoration, and reign. Will you not revive us again, that your people may rejoice in you? Psalms 85 is written in the shadow of devastation. Most scholars believe it comes post-exile, when the people had returned to a ruined Jerusalem. There had been a partial return to the land, but not yet to God's favor. The land was parched, the crops failed, worship had resumed, but something was missing. The face of God had not yet turned towards them in full. And you need to understand the narrative and where I'm going, that each of us need God's face in our lives. In verses 10 through to 13, the Psalms paint a picture of a healed world, mercy and truth meeting, righteousness springing up from the earth, and the land yielding its increase. This is not just agriculture, it's a spiritual ecology. When God's face shines, the moral order of the world is restored. Truth grows, righteousness rains down. The land and the people are healed together. Spiritual implication. We often pray for revival, although it is not only about personal favor, but Psalms 85 teaches us that true revival is a revelation of God's face. It is the visible return of his favor, not only upon hearts, but upon communities, system, and the land itself. Revival is relational before it is emotional. So it is an entire function of the community, of this church. And oftentimes we wonder why as a nation we are not thriving. Why as a community we are not moving forward. Because God's face is not shining on all of us. God's favor is not with all of us. Do you remember the story of Achan, the king? You remember the story, you maybe not remember the Achan. But you remember the story of Joshua? He went up against this king. But what happened? God says to them that if they go into war, they should not take anything that is left or that is in their possession, whatever it be material. So Achan, I think it was a servant, he took stuff when Israel defeated the army. And Joshua was going up against this other army, and they kept losing the what? The battle. Even though Joshua was what? Praying. Until God revealed that sin is what? In the camp. And he had to find that person, because what he did, he dug a hole in his tent and buried all of the things there. When God said, do not take anything from the land when you wipe out these people who are committing atrocities. And so Joshua was wondering, why am I praying and we are still losing the battle? Until God revealed and said, sin is in the camp. And so oftentimes, we as a nation and nations, we as a family, our community, wondering why we are struggling the way, or we are struggling, is because God's face is not shining on all of us. We are not allowing God to function the way how we ought to function in our lives. And this can be even attributed to an household. So, sin is in the camp. You can read that story. It's a very interesting story. Achan and his entire family and even the animal were punished because of what he did. The spiritual implications. A plea in Psalms 4 and verse 6, a plea in the night. There are many who say, who will show us some good? Lift up the light of your face upon us, O Lord. Psalms 4 is a nighttime prayer, likely written by David while facing distress, possible from rebellion or betrayal. The people are restless, perhaps disillusioned, asking who will show us any good. This is the voice of a spiritual cynicism in hard times. Psalms 4 is a nighttime prayer. Likely, as I said, David doesn't argue with their despair. He answered it with a higher appeal, the face of God. While others seek comfort in grain and wine, verse 7, David seeks the radiance of the Lord's presence. He says, in essence, if God's face shines, it doesn't matter what's happening in the world, I will sleep in peace because he is near. He is near. You see, when the apostles were in the ship and this waves began, there was a great storm or hurricane on the sea. But as soon as Jesus, you know the song, "Carest thou if we perish?" Jesus was having a nap in the middle of a distressful situation. And Jesus came and he spoke to the what? To the wind, and the wind what? Obey him. The wind obeyed him. And when that happened, what happened? Everybody was calm and cool and collected. Because we have the one with us who is able to restore order even when there is chaos, even when our lives are threatened. When life is dark and uncertain, when we see no good around us, the light of God's face is our only true security. This verse reminds us that peace is not the absence of trouble, but the presence of God gazed upon us, even when others can't see what he is doing. I want to share something with you, but I hope that you are mature enough. And when I say mature, it doesn't mean that I am casting any shade on you, but spiritually mature enough. I don't know if I shared it with anyone, but about a month and a half ago, I was restless. I was restless, and the reason I was restless is because I had a substantial amount of money to be paid off on my student account. I didn't want to burden you with anything because the church is already burdened. And I was, driving up my blood pressure. And it dawned on me, but God brought you here. He brought you thus far. Are you with me? He took care of you. And I prayed to God and I stopped worrying about the situation. You see, because I was saying, they said to me that if I don't pay off my student account, I can't get my diploma. You know, I can't get my diploma to leave. And I don't know, out of the blue, somebody said to call this person, and I was having a conversation because I was telling them I really want to go back into mission work. I want to do certain things. And I said, you know, I have this situation. I didn't have any intention of asking them for anything. And I just mentioned it, that I have to do this. I have to try and get my account cleared so that I can get my diploma. I'll be able to get a job and do ministry at the same time. And the person just opted, they and their wife, to pay it off. $6,200 US. I'm just showing you something. I stopped worrying. I said, God brought me here, He will take care of it. Out of the blue. It wasn't, I was just having what? Conversation with the person. Now, I don't know, there are some people who want to debate me, oh, that's not God, that's providence. That is God. He's a member of the church. And then, I've never met him. He heard about me. I've never met the man. But he was involved with mission work long before I was born in Jamaica. God, face shining on you in the midst of a sticky situation. In Revelation 22 and verse 4, the fulfillment, we shall see his face, we shall see his face. They will see his face, and his name will be on their foreheads. The final reference takes us beyond the present age. In the new heavens and the new earth, we are told the most stunning truth, we shall see his face. This is the ultimate answer to every psalm, every plea, every longing for restoration. No more shadows, no more veils. The shining face that once meant survival in the desert, revival in the land, peace in the storm, now becomes the eternal reality, and the redeemed to see God's face, to be fully known, fully accepted, and fully transformed. Everything we experience now, everything that we are experiencing right now, every glimmer of God's presence is a foretaste of that day. Is a foretaste of what? That day. So Psalms 67 is not merely agricultural or missional. It is a theological, Christ-centered reality. The harvest, it speaks of, is global, eternal, and glorious. And in Christ, the light of God's face is already shining, or shines in our hearts. 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 6. So from the wandering wilderness of Numbers to the heavenly city of Revelation, the shining face of God has always been the cry of his people. In Psalms 67, the psalmist stands in the middle of this story, looking back to priestly blessing, looking around at a land in need of rain, and looking forward to a world where all nations praise the God whose face gives light. The spiritual depth is this: when God's face shines, It is a sign of nearness, nourishment, and new creation. And when it shines through us, the world sees that He is good. Imagine a child lost in a crowd. Panic sets in. Every unfamiliar face only heightens the fear. Then suddenly the face of their father appears. His eyes meet theirs. Relief floods in. Fear vanishes. Nothing physically changed in the world around the child, but everything changed because of the face that appeared. So it is when God's face shines upon His people. His presence dispels fear, brings blessing, and restores joy. It is not merely about circumstances, it is about relationship. So what does it mean when God's face shines upon us as I come to a close? It means His presence is with us. This is more than symbolic. When God shines His face, He is near. This presence brings clarity in confusion, hope in sorrow, and courage in fear. It means His favor rests on us. Divine light equals divine approval. This is not earned. It is grace, but it is also transformative. It makes the recipient a witness to the nation. Verse 3 says, "Let the people praise you, O Lord. Let all the people praise you. God blesses so that His name be made known." It means His purpose advances through us. Blessing is never an end in itself. Verse 2 says, "That your way may be known on the earth, your salvation among all nations." God's people are blessed to be a blessing. The shining of His face is not the climax. It is the call, Church of Christ. It is the call. Friends and brethren, brothers and sisters in Christ, are you seeking the shining face of God while turning your face elsewhere? Are you asking for His blessing while resisting His presence? Psalm 67 teaches us that His face shines where His name is honored and His purpose is pursued. His purpose is pursued. Where His face is honored and where His purpose is pursued, that's where His face is going to shine. I kid you not. We cannot receive the blessing of God while rejecting the mission of God. If you want His face to shine on you, then your face must turn to Him. Your face must turn to Him. Our loved ones and our friends are passing. My brother dying has given me a profound message, because all of his earthly plans with his kids and whatever he gained is forgotten in the twinkling of an eye. And now all that stands is with his Maker on that day of reckoning. That we are mere strangers in this land. Time that is loaned to us. And so, the Psalms close with a vision. May God bless us, and all the ends of the earth revered Him. This is not only a prayer for harvest, it is a prayer for the harvest of nations. The blessing we seek is meant to light the way for the nations to come and worship. Ultimately, The shining face of God reaches its climax in Jesus Christ, who called the radiance of God's glory, Hebrews chapter 1:3, and whose light now shines in our hearts. And one day we shall see his face, not in shadow, not by faith, by faith, but face to face. Until then, may his face shine upon you and through you. I know the Lord will make a way for me. I know the Lord will make a way for me. And if I walk in heaven's light, shun the wrong and do the right, I know the Lord will make a way for me. Why don't we stand?